When most of us picture a Ferris wheel, we think of bright lights, colorful fares, and that slow, thrilling ride into the sky, a symbol of pure, simple joy. But in the hands of a film noir director, even something so cheerful gets reimagined into something deeper, more layered, and frankly, more fascinating. Film noir has this incredible way of flipping familiar things on their head. It takes everyday images, a street lamp, a city alley, even a carnival ride, and drenches them in atmosphere, turning them into symbols of mystery, tension, and hidden meaning. The Ferris wheel is a perfect example. Under Noir's brooding skies, it's not just a ride. It becomes a monument to life's ups and downs, a cycle of hope, ambition, descent, and reflection. It's towering, yes, but instead of promising a carefree ride, it hints at the bigger forces at play: fate, choices, and the unknown. There's something absolutely thrilling about how Noir takes a setting we know so well and shows us the other side, not to depress us, but to invite us to look closer. Behind the bright bulbs and carnival music, there's a world full of hidden stories just waiting to be uncovered. And that's exactly what makes the Ferris wheel such an iconic image when viewed through the lens of film noir. It's a reminder that even in places built for joy, there are deeper, more complex stories spinning just beneath the surface. One of the things that makes film noir so endlessly fascinating is how it finds meaning in everyday objects. The Ferris wheel, for example, becomes a brilliant, almost poetic symbol for one of noir's favorite themes: fate. Think about it, a Ferris wheel only moves one way. Once you're strapped in, your path is set, up toward the sky, down toward the ground, and around again. It's thrilling, sure, but it's also completely out of your control. No matter how much you might want to stay at the top, the wheel keeps turning. In noir, characters live inside that same kind of ride. They make choices, they chase dreams, they fight to rise above their circumstances, and yet, again and again, they find themselves pulled back down by forces larger than themselves. Not because they're weak, but because the world of noir is built on the idea that fate always has the final say. The Ferris wheel captures that cycle visually in such a simple, elegant way. It's a constant reminder: what goes up must come down. Every triumph carries the seed of its own undoing. Every escape route eventually circles back to the place you started from. But here's the thing: it's not all doom and gloom. There's something incredibly human about watching these characters wrestle with fate, even when the odds are stacked against them. Just like riding a Ferris wheel in a thunderstorm, there's a strange kind of beauty in hanging on, reaching for the sky, even knowing the fall is inevitable. In noir, and in life, it's the struggle itself that makes the story worth watching. One of the coolest things about film noir is how much it says without shouting. In fact, some of the most powerful moments in noir aren't loud at all. They're quiet, even silent, but they hit you just as hard. The image of a Ferris wheel in a storm captures this idea beautifully. Picture it, the wind howling, lightning splitting the sky, and there it is, this giant structure standing still, almost like it's trying to scream against the chaos but can't. It's the kind of moment that noir thrives on, full of tension you can feel but not quite explain. In classic noir films, fear isn't usually the kind that has characters running and screaming. It's more subtle: the tightening of a jaw, the flicker of doubt in someone's eyes, the quiet realization that things have gone too far. The Ferris wheel, frozen mid-spin under a flashing sky, becomes a symbol of that bottled-up fear, the kind that simmers inside and changes a person forever. This is part of what makes film noir so endlessly captivating. It trusts the audience to pick up on those silences, to hear the things that aren't being said out loud. The Ferris wheel doesn't need a voice to tell us something is terribly wrong. It's all there in the way it stands, unmoving and exposed, while the storm rages around it. In noir, sometimes the loudest screams are the ones you never hear, and that's what makes them unforgettable. One of the reasons we love film noir so much is because the world itself feels alive, almost like it's another character in the story. Everything in noir, the weather, the lighting, the streets, is full of mood and meaning, setting the stage for the drama that unfolds. And storms? Storms are pure cinematic gold. In the world of noir, a storm isn't just a backdrop. It's a sign that something big is happening. Tension is rising. Secrets are about to explode, and the normal rules no longer apply. When lightning splits the sky and rain starts pouring down, it's like the universe itself is reacting to the emotions brewing inside the characters. Now, add a Ferris wheel to that scene, and you get something unforgettable. Against those swirling clouds and flashes of lightning, the Ferris wheel looks almost ghostly, a giant, creaking reminder of dreams, risks, and the passage of time. The storm highlights every bolt, every worn-out seat, turning it into something both majestic and a little tragic. That's the magic of noir. It's not just about people making bad choices. It's about the atmosphere. The way the world seems to lean in closer during those critical moments, casting long shadows, soaking everything in rain, daring the characters to reveal who they really are. In a great noir story, the setting doesn't just sit in the background. It breathes. It watches. It challenges. And honestly, that's part of why these films still captivate us so many years later. They understand that sometimes a Ferris wheel under a thunderstorm says more than a whole page of dialogue ever could. At first glance, a carnival feels like the last place you'd expect to find a noir story. Bright lights, cheerful music, the smell of popcorn in the air. It's pure escape, right? But that's exactly what makes it such an incredible setting when you look through a noir lens. Film noir loves places that are supposed to feel safe, and then shows us the cracks just beneath the surface. In noir, the carnival becomes a stage for a different kind of drama. It's still a place of wonder, but that wonder has faded a little. The paint is chipped. The rides creak in the wind. The Ferris wheel still spins, but there's something lonely about it now, something beautiful and a little bittersweet. You start to realize the carnival isn't just about fun. It's about hope, about chasing after magic, even when deep down, you know it might slip through your fingers. And that's what makes it such a perfect mirror for the characters we love in noir. They're dreamers, strivers, people looking for one lucky break, even when the odds aren't exactly stacked in their favor. The Ferris wheel, rising high above the empty booths and faded banners, reminds us of that search. It lifts you up, just enough to glimpse the world from a new height, and then it brings you back down again. It's not cruel. It's just honest. And maybe that's what noir respects most of all, the honesty that hides just behind the illusion, waiting for those who are brave enough to look. There's something thrilling about getting to the top of a Ferris wheel. For a moment, you're above it all. The noise, the crowds, the whole crazy world spinning below. It feels like you're in control, like you're seeing things no one else can. But in noir, that moment at the top comes with a twist. Because even from way up there, you can't change what's happening on the ground. You can see everything. The mistakes, the betrayals, the regrets playing out below. But you're just along for the ride. It's such a brilliant metaphor for the way noir sees the world. Knowledge doesn't guarantee power. In fact, sometimes the more you know, the more trapped you realize you are. Noir characters often catch a glimpse of the bigger picture, the real forces at work behind the scenes. But by then, it's already too late to change the outcome. The Ferris wheel captures that feeling perfectly. It lifts you up, gives you this breathtaking view of everything. But you're stuck on the track. You can't stop the wheel. You can't jump off. You can only hold on and watch it all unfold. And yet, there's a strange kind of beauty in that. Even knowing how little control they have, the characters in noir keep pushing forward. They still chase the truth. They still try to make their mark. It's not about winning. It's about the fight itself. And honestly, that's one of the reasons noir stories stay with us. They remind us that even when we're riding a wheel we can't steer, there's something noble about holding our heads high and facing the storm anyway. Once you start looking for Ferris wheels in film, especially in noir and thrillers, you realize they're everywhere. And every time they show up, they mean something more than just a carnival ride. Take The Third Man, 1949, one of the absolute classics. There's this unforgettable scene where Orson Welles' character, Harry Lime, meets his old friend on a Ferris wheel high above post-war Vienna. They talk casually about life and death, about how tiny and distant people look from up there, and it's chilling. The Ferris wheel isn't just a ride anymore. It's a vantage point where morality feels small and disposable. It's genius storytelling. Then there's Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train, 1951. The whole plot revolves around a meeting at a carnival, and the Ferris wheel becomes a backdrop to some serious psychological tension. The wheel looms large over the story, a reminder of how easily lives can spin out of control once the wrong choice is made. And it doesn't stop with the old classics. Modern filmmakers still turn to Ferris wheels when they want to hint at deeper forces in play, cycles of fate, illusion, and power, all wrapped up in a simple, familiar shape. It's kind of amazing, honestly. A Ferris wheel seems so innocent when you first see it, but once it's framed by Noir's moody lighting and clever storytelling, it transforms. It becomes a symbol for ambition, for helplessness, for the quiet inevitability of change. And that's the magic of great filmmaking. Taking something ordinary and turning it into a moment you'll never forget. When you step back and look at it, the Ferris wheel is one of the most brilliant symbols in cinema, and especially in film noir. It's simple, it's familiar, and yet it carries so much meaning without needing a single word. It's about the cycles we all live through. The highs, the lows, the moments where we think we're in control, and the moments when we realize we're not. It's about the thrill of reaching the top, the fear of coming back down, and the understanding that somehow the ride keeps going no matter what. That's what noir captures so well. Not just the fall, but the movement. The persistence. The stubborn hope tucked inside even the most cynical characters. The ones who keep chasing something better even when they know the odds are stacked against them. The Ferris wheel reminds us. Life doesn't stand still. You don't get to stay at the top forever. But you also don't stay at the bottom forever either. The wheel keeps turning. The storms come and go. And somewhere inside all of it, there's something strangely beautiful. A resilience that noir never forgets to honor, even while it shows us every hard truth along the way. So next time you see a Ferris wheel, whether it's gleaming under a bright summer sky or silhouetted against a moody, thunderous night, take a moment and really look at it. It's not just a ride. It's a story, a dozen stories, waiting to be told. And in the world of film noir, every spin of the wheel is another chance to dive into something